What's up, WWE Champions Universe? This is Lee from Champions Chat, and this is the next installment of the series, Why I Love Feud, Why I Like Boss Battle, Why I Hate Showdown lately, and Why I Foolishly Ignore Gemania. So this is the second video. This is the Why I Like Boss Battle. I might even say I really like Boss Battle. I find it a very fun event. I know my friend and fellow official CC Flextodon feels very differently about Boss Battle. So, maybe he'll do a counterpoint video and, that'll help him explain himself on that side of things. But I get it. But I really enjoy it. So the reasons I gave for why I love Feud is that it was engaging for all roster levels. The juice was worth the squeeze. In other words, most of the time the rewards were good. And it's something you can hop in, hop out on, and not feel like you have to give your whole weekend to it, but you absolutely can if that's what you want to do with your weekend. So all of those things, I think, fairly well apply to Boss Battle. Now, I did the first video yesterday while, I was on this Faction Feud weekend where I could look at Faction Feud and show you Faction Feud, and obviously I can't do that with the boss, but because it's not a Boss Battle weekend. And if I wait for a Boss Battle weekend, maybe that's next week, maybe it's 3 weeks from now. I don't even remember right at this point. I think it's next weekend, but either way, I can still tell you the reasons, even if I can't show all of them on here. What I can show is the store. Let's just at least put the Boss Battle store up. There we go. The Faction Boss shop. It's not even right. I can't actually show you that. I'm terribly wrong. But I'll put it right here anyway. So I would say, in terms of accessible for all rosters. Now, there's a feeling in the community, and it's not necessarily wrong, that if you can't max Boss Battle, what are you even doing, right? But what I do like about Boss Battle is it's a faction-based event, so you personally don't have to have every relevant character so long as you can contribute, right? So I would say a goal has been, and I've shared this many, many times, that you should have a 6-star gold, or should be working towards, I should say, a 6-star gold in each of the sub types. That is your chaotic and your focused and so on and so forth. You should be working on a 6-star gold in each gender so that you can max Boss Battle. But in most factions, and even when I was in, the Black Pearl, and it was a little more of a struggle for the faction to get to maxing things, usually at least one person has the character that can just squash the boss. And there's usually always one, sometimes 2 or 3, that can just squash the boss. And so as long as you have that 6-star gold, you're usually able to get there. Now, in your top factions, like we're in the top 10 usually now, if not higher, we can usually actually knock out the entirety of Boss Battle in about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe. We can get all the CSS done, and that's amazing, right? But they usually keep enough of it fairly open where if you are doing, say, there's a Ruthless Aggression era, or Hall of Fame. There's Hall of Fame JBLs on screen. There's a Hall of Fame era requirement. Usually you can participate up to a certain point, and you feel like you're helping your faction, which I like. The juice, I would say, is also worth the squeeze in terms of the rewards for Boss Battle weekend are usually fairly good. There's usually more shards of a new character in the shop that I can't access right now because it's not there, and so on. The other thing I really like about Boss Battle, and I don't typically like this because you're going to hear me in the Why I Foolishly Ignore Gemania video tell you something very different. It's going to sound contradictory, but I like that they force you to use a variety of characters you might not otherwise use. Like the fact that Boss Battle is set up where, purple gems and leech gems maybe are the focus. And so you go through your brain, you're like, who on my roster uses purple and leech gems, or at least leech gems, or at least purple gems, or so on and so forth. You build your roster around, kind of like with feud, like how with feud you have the talent ups that you focus on that are right before the feud. You similarly start to build your roster around, like every single boss has seemingly needed hell freezes over at level 10, and so that's your focused class. So I'm thinking, who is my best focused class, or who's my best focus that might be a shield breaker, for example. So then you have some specific people that you end up trying to take up. You end up trying to get these whatever we want to call them. They're coins. They're coins-ish. They're very coinsy. Coin medallion-y stuff. But you end up looking for these to make sure that you're building up your, especially the focused, and I would say the chaotic ones. Those, the chaotic, the boss breaker that makes it so it doesn't do damage, and then the hell freeze is over. Those are like your most common important ones. So you have reason to do things daily. I seek these coins out every single day through the faction portal, to make sure that you've got some things. And then, like I said, it's a good roster variety. You're going through and going like, oh, okay, well, this boss uses red gems as the focus. So who on this roster? Oh, Hogan does red gems. Oh, it's a multiply boss. Macho Man is great for multiplies. Or maybe it's a botch gem boss. Like, wow, the new Lex might show up in that, or etc., etc. Right? It forces variety on your roster, which I think is a good thing, because there are certain characters I wouldn't build up if I wasn't forced to, but it's not like forced in like oh gosh, I'm so sad that I have to use this person. Like it's usually, at least, if they made me use, Powerhouse Nia Jax or Road Dogg, I'd be salty. But other than that, like, it gives me a good reason to build up some of my characters that I might not otherwise use, and I think that's great. And the rewards, I think, are usually fairly strong. I think they are a good to good enough reward base for what you're doing, and the fact that your whole faction is going towards those rewards together, I like that. I really, really, really like that setup. And so I think it's worth the squeeze. And then lastly, depending on your faction, you are able to hop in usually and do an hour here, an hour there with faction battles, like boss battle, and you can go in and invest the amount of time that you want to invest relative to what the expectations of your faction is or are, and get something out of it. It's an enjoyable mode. Now, are there things I would change? Absolutely. First and foremost, if there's a way to just put it on 2 times speed, and then make the matches half as long, or whatever it takes, it feels like I'm running through molasses. Like, I know the game was built on 1 times speed, that's why it exists, but we are so far beyond 1 times speed. Like, 2 times speed feels the speed that people actually do moves in wrestling, whereas 1 times speed feels like they're like, I got you. Like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, I would love to have shorter rounds, or adjust the damage somehow. Like, if you could adjust the damage, but give us twice, the 2 times speed so that we could get through things. I don't know. It just, that is the one thing out of all the boss battle side of it that drives me nuts. The other thing as to why it's not an I love boss battle immediately like Feud was, is while there is a lot of variety, and I championed and praised that, I think that's good, there's also a lack of variety in that certain things are just pretty much there every single time. Like unfreeze. Unfreeze is the mechanic for every single boss, and I'd love there to be something different. I'd love there to be a variety in there. The Shield, like I know the Shield has a good reasoning behind it, but the shield breaker aspect of it is there for every single boss, and I just don't always love that. But overall, I would say Boss Battle is a like to very strong like in my book. But where are you at? Let me know in the comments section. Like the video, subscribe to Champions Chat, and then send this to your friend or faction mates who maybe agree or disagree. Like, are you with Flextodon? Do you hate Boss Battle? And then the next video, I'm going to explain why I have moved from really liking Showdown to absolutely despising it in every form, fashion, and way. I know, I don't want to be negative, but hopefully we can be constructive together, because Showdown is no longer a mode I enjoy at all, frankly. So, that's it for this video. Like it, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.